Hello and welcome to today's Bitrix24 webinar, Perfect Project Management. Thank you for joining today. Okay, so we'll just go through some introductions. So who are we? My name is Sam Connor. I'm a sales engineer here at Bitrix24 Gold Partners Interface. We're based in the UK, in the US and Hong Kong. We offer a full range of services to help you with Bitrix24, starting off with pre-sale support. So what we can do is we can go through your requirements in detail to see if Bitrix24 would be a good fit for your business. If it is, we can then help with implementation. We can set up your specific requirements into Bitrix24. If you're interested in a self-hosted edition, we offer our own hosting services and we can provide you with training and ongoing dedicated support. Okay, so if you're new to Bitrix24, you've come to the webinar today to get more information. I think it's important to understand actually what Bitrix24 is. So it is a collaboration suite of well in excess of 35 different tools that you can use to help you to manage your business. And there are over 10 million customers now around the world that use Bitrix24, and it's available in two different editions. So we have the Bitrix24 Cloud and the Bitrix24 self-hosted solution. And prices start from $49 for a basic cloud system, and for a self-hosted starting at the Business 50 edition, that is priced at $2,990. Okay, so today's webinar is Perfect Project Management. So we're going to be going through and evaluating all of the different tools within Bitrix24 that you can use to manage your projects. And there are lots of different tools within the system. So we're going to have a look at how we can use what we call project work groups to bring groups of users together to collaborate and manage projects. And Bitrix24 has a really powerful task management system, so we can track all of the tasks across multiple projects, and we'll see how we can use some automations as well to automatically create projects in the system and streamline your processes so we can automatically create tasks inside the system. We'll look at workload management as well, so how we can see the amount of tasks that each user has been allocated inside the system, so we can maybe prioritize who should be associated and made responsible for different tasks in the system. We'll have a look at some of the reporting tools as well, and some of the Gantt chart displays that you can use to effectively manage your tasks inside projects. And we'll also have a look at the external user feature, which is a really nice and powerful feature within Bitrix24. It allows you to bring in your clients or third parties, maybe your suppliers for example, who can then work with you on your projects directly in Bitrix24. And in just a point on the external user feature there, that is available on both the cloud and the self-hosted system, and you can have unlimited external users. Okay, so first of all then, let's have a look at the project groups in some more detail. So we're going to have a look now at how we can create our projects inside the Bitrix system, bring our group of users together and collaborate with them, and then we'll look at how we can manage tasks within the project and some of the additional features that you can turn on for different types of projects that you manage in Bitrix24. Okay, so we've just gone into our Bitrix24 system, and when we go to create a new project, the area we want to go to create that project is in what we call the workgroups section. Now, when we're inside our workgroups, this page displays all of the different projects that we are associated to. So I can see all of those in the system. And what you can do is you can use the filter and search tool. So you could have, for example, hundreds of projects inside here that you are associated with. So you can either use the free text search, or you could drill down maybe based on project type, for example, or the owner. So there's lots of different fields you can use to drill down into a project. So if I was searching for a project, I can quickly find it using the search tool there. Now let's go now and create a new project inside the system so we can see how this looks. So within Bitrix24, there are different types of projects that you can create. So first of all, we have a public project. So this is where anyone within your Bitrix24 system can access that project. It's an open project that anyone can access and collaborate with you on. We also have a private project. So this is where you as the project owner, you invite specific people who are going to be working on this project. So it's an invitation only, it's a secure project that not anyone else within your Bitrix system would be able to access. So that's quite a common and useful project that you can use in the system. And then we also have external projects. So this is where you can invite in your clients or third parties, for example, who you can then liaise with on all of that information and tasks within the project itself. And on that you can have an unlimited number of external users. Now I just want to show you while we're on here, this is how it looks on the on-premise edition. I just want to show you now the new UI, the new display inside the Bitrix24 cloud system. So within this display you can see it's quite different in how it's displayed. We can choose the type, first of all, if it's a project or a work group. The key difference here is in a project you would have a start and an end date, and then any tasks that you have within that project, the task end date has to be within the end date of the project. You can't have a task that surpasses the project end date. So inside there I could select project, and if we go into here, if we go to the extended parameters section, we can then choose if we want to allow external users into this project. So it's in a slightly different display to how it looks on the self-hosted right now, but I just wanted to show you that new display that is now available on the cloud system. So if we go back into our on-premise edition here, we are going to now create a new project. So let's create a private project in this system. So first of all, on this display, we have to give the project a name. So first of all, you can give this a name and a description. So let's say okay, so you can give this a title, you can give it a description underneath, and then we can upload an image, we can add a theme, that's the background for the project that we'll have a look at later on. And then you can see in here we can give the project a start and an end date. And as I mentioned earlier, so if we have that as our project end date, the 31st of December, any tasks within this project, the deadline for that task can not surpass that 31st of December deadline. It will not allow you to do that. So that's a key feature with the project end dates. And then further down here we have our different types of roles within the project. So first of all we have the project owner. So we have that marked as ourselves right now, so we can select the owner for the project. We can then also have kind of a middle layer of management, which is your project moderators. And then we can have all other users who are also going to be working on this project. Now you'll see later on that within the project itself, these different roles that we have here, the owner, the moderators, and the other employees, we can then set access rights within the project based on those roles. So for example, we may say within this project that the project owner and the project moderators are able to create and assign tasks to users within the project. Or it may be actually just the project owner is allowed to create tasks. So that kind of layer here of management with these different roles allows you to then assign different levels of permissions on lots of different areas of the projects that you work on. Further down here, we could have a project subject, which we saw earlier on. We can then filter on in the system. And then further down here, we can then turn on and turn off different features that we want to have inside this project. So this is a really nice feature. So for every single work group or project that you create, you can decide what features you want to turn on or turn off. Now you can come back to this later on. Say if you're the owner of this project, you've added some features, maybe you want to add some more, disable a few. What you can do is come back to this at any time and readjust what features are available. So for example, maybe I know I'm going to manage tasks within this project. So what I can do is I can turn on the task feature. And maybe I want to store documents and information. So I'm going to also turn on a drive area where I can store my files for the project. So it's a really nice feature that we can turn on and turn off different features. And then we can choose here what type of project. We can again add it and make it available for the extranet. So we can then add external users who are not part of our project. And then we can create the project, and members who are in the invited area will receive a notification and an invite to open up the request to join the project. Okay, so let's go within a project first of all then. So here we're in what we call our BizTech project. So this is a project that we're working on in our Bitrix24 system. We talked about the theme. So each project that you have has its own background. So it has its kind of own familiar theme. So you again can decide what that theme is in the background here. And we can see all of the information here about this project. So we can see the start and the end date. We can see all of the users of the project and those different layers of access. So we've got the owners, the moderators, and the other members. And I mentioned how you can set access rights. So based on those different roles within the project. So for example, here we have the permission to create tasks, for example. So what we may say is that the owner and the moderators are able to create tasks in here. Or maybe it's just the owner, for example. So you can set that permission role for all of those different types of members across lots of different areas of the project. And the first area I'm just going to show you within this project is the feed section. So you may be easy to understand the feed section almost like a news board for the project. So this is where we can see all messages and conversations inside this project. So if I wanted to, I could add a new message into here. Okay, so I could type out a message and send that to the rest of the team. I could attach files or documents inside here. And every post then that comes into the feed section, you can like, you can add your own comments. So it just allows you to easily collaborate with everybody else within your project, and really easily as well, because what you can do is set up notifications. So anytime a post is added to the feed section, you can then receive that as a notification. And there's different ways in Bitrix you can receive notifications. You can do this directly on the Bitrix24 system. You can receive an email notification, and you can also receive a push notification to the Bitrix mobile app. So that goes directly to your mobile. And I find that the easiest way, because you always have your phone on you. You can always interact very quickly then and post a message back. You don't need to be on a laptop or on a browser. You could easily just post a comment back on the mobile app. So that's the feed section here. So we can add comments, conversations, and a really important area obviously is, if I just cancel that message, is the task section. So within a project you have a task area where you can manage all of the tasks associated to this specific project. So there's different ways you can view tasks within the project. So we'll have a look at some of these now. I think my favourite view really is this deadline view. So all of the tasks that you set in the system, you can assign a deadline for that task. And really that's critical on any task management system. You want to have a deadline so you can make sure you are working to those deadlines on all of your tasks. And this deadline display will then automatically allocate the task within the correct stage based on when its deadline is. So for example, here I can see due today is the customization of intranet portal task. So I can really easily see what tasks I need to be working on inside the system. And inside each task you have the task page. So inside here we can store all of the relevant information for the task. Here we can see a checklist, so you can add checklists of items that need to be completed in the system. You can also record time on a task. So if you want to log the amount of time you're spending on tasks, this could be useful if you need to evaluate maybe at the end of the project how much time you've spent on a task compared to maybe how much you've charged your client, for example. That can then all be recorded inside here. And we've also got a comment section inside the task page. So this is really useful because it allows you to really focus your communications on every single task. So you don't have lots of kind of cluttered communications. All of the conversation for every task can be isolated within that task page, and we can then communicate directly inside here with our colleagues about this particular task. You also have a history section, so you can see any changes that are made. You have a full audit within each task, and we can see the amount of time that's been recorded in every single interval on the task itself. So that's a really nice view, the deadline view inside here, so I can see what's currently overdue as well, so where you really need to prioritize your workload. And if anyone leaves a comment on a task, you also have the filtering tool at the top here. So if someone has left a new comment, you would see this, that would display a number 1, for example, and you'd be able to click on that and it would show you all of the tasks where there is a comment that you have not yet read in the system. So it's a really nice filter tool there. So let's just have a look at some of the other displays for our tasks. So here we've got the list view. So this is really kind of a table of all of those tasks in the system. You've got a filtering tool in all of these views. So I might want to look at maybe who's responsible for certain tasks in the system, so I can drill down into any of that information. You also have a Kanban view. So here you can create the stages that you want for progressing your tasks, and you can then put each task into its relevant stage for the project. There's also a planner view. So this is really nice because it's your own individual, really kind of mini Kanban display. So this allows you to create your own stages for the tasks that you are working on inside the system. Okay, so I could create my own stages inside here, move these tasks into the relevant stage, and that doesn't affect any other user within the project. They're not going to now be updated on their stages. They're not going to receive a notification because I've moved that to that stage. This is my own personal kind of project management Kanban display. There's also a calendar view. So inside here, based on the deadlines, we can see all of our tasks inside here based on the deadlines for the tasks, and you can click into those directly inside the system here. And we also have a very popular view is the Gantt chart display. So this allows you to see all of your tasks in a Gantt chart format. The red lines indicate the deadlines, so you can see how close you are to hitting those deadlines for all of your tasks. Okay, so we've had a question come in, can I automatically create a project after a deal is won? So that's a really common question. So if you're new to Bitrix, a deal is where you close a sale basically within the CRM system. Now, it will depend what license you have. So let's just go out of that project just while we go through this question. What you can do within the CRM system inside your deals, you have automation rules. Now, one rule you could set up inside here, say when the deal is won, or we've got this as the job complete, for example, what you could then do is you could then use the automation rules and we could automatically create a new work group in the system. And within here, we could then create a set of tasks that are then automatically associated to that particular group. So yes, using the automation rules, you could then automatically create a new project group when the deal hits a certain stage, or as you say, it could be when the deal is marked as at the 1 stage. So you would need to make sure your Bitrix license has at least the CRM automation functionality in there. And if that's something you're interested in, we'll add our details later on, and you can get in touch. We can look at how we can help you to set up that automation. Okay, so if we just go back into the project, so we've just looked there at how we can manage our tasks in the system. When you want to create new tasks, you can just click on the new task button, and this will then open up the task slider page, so you can add all of your details about the tasks. You can add checklists of items that need to be completed, choose who's responsible, and add any other participants into the task as well. And then you've got your time parameters, so we can add the deadlines, etc. for the task. Now what you can also do inside tasks is you could repeat tasks. So for example, you may have, we have lots of clients who work in accountancy and financial industry. And within those industries, you have a lot of repetitive tasks. So it could be every month you have to do the financial reports for your clients. So rather than having to create a task every single month, what you could do is use the repeat task feature, and you could automate this. So every single month, the task is automatically recreated within this project. So that's a really useful feature. And another feature, you could save this template inside the system. So rather than having to type out all of this information time and time over, you could use a template. So you could save that information the first time, and it automatically is there available for you in the future. So we've got the information here, we've got a checklist of the items for this template, and I could then add that task. So it can save you time using any of those two tools. Okay, some of the other additional features we have in the projects. I mentioned earlier on how you can create and turn on and turn off different features. Inside here we have a calendar, so we can manage all of our activities across the project inside here. We also have a drive area. So this is really useful because it allows you to store all of your documents and maybe folders for that specific project in a really accessible place for your project team. And within here you can also set permissions. So even actually within the project, you may only want certain people to access certain documents. So you can turn on the access rights on each individual document and file. So inside here, actually, I may actually say for a certain user in the project, let's give Mark full access, and the group owner can have full access. But any external users in this project, they can only have read access on that document. Okay, moving on here, we also have lists. So lists are basically tables of information that you can store in your project. So for example here, a good example is expenses. So inside here, each column is simply a field that we have created. So you can create different field types to store relevant information for the project. So here we've got expenses, so we can see the type of expense, the amount, the date. And you can see here we have a status. So what you can do on lists, if you have certain types of licenses, so on any self-hosted or on a professional cloud license, you can run business processes. So what this allows you to do is really to run actions and approval processes in the system. So if I go to the approval process for the expenses here, when we submit that expense, it's then going to go to the owner of the project to either approve or to reject that expense inside the system. So if we go back now to that list, what you'll see is you can see we have different statuses on here. So I can see actually, maybe I want to see all of those expenses that are currently pending, so they've not yet been approved in the system. So I can drill down into that data inside here. So lists are really powerful tools, and you can create as many lists as you require, but you just need to make sure you have the correct Bitrix24 license. You wouldn't be able to do this on a basic cloud system, for example. Okay, another feature we have here is a knowledge base. So this could be really useful if you have maybe FAQs for your project. You can create articles inside here to store information. Basically, it's a Bible of information for the project, and it's easily accessible for all of your project team. And then we also have the chat feature. So this is really useful because it allows you to easily communicate with the rest of your team through instant chats. You can also do voice calling, and you can also do business video calls inside the system as well. Okay, so that's a look there at some of the features of projects. So if there are any further questions, I know we've just answered one there around automatically creating a project when a deal is won. Please do add any other questions into the question box on the YouTube channel and we can run through those for you. Okay, so is there a limit to the number of tasks that I can create inside a project? No, there's no limit to the number of tasks that you create inside the project. That is completely up to you. I mean, you would want to make sure you're not, I guess, creating too many tasks in the sense of it could become overcrowded and difficult to manage. But no, there is no limit to the number of tasks you can create. Okay, so moving on now, we're going to have a look at how we can automate processes inside the system. So automation can be a really powerful area for the Bitrix24 project management tools. So it could be as one of our questions earlier on was managed, that how could you automate the creation of a project when a deal is marked as won. That's one area where you could automate a project. So using the stages inside the CRM, based on a stage, you could then automate the creation of a project. And we're going to have a look at a different way we can do this, but it's exactly the same functionality. It's just in a slightly different area of the system. Okay, so what we could do if we want to, maybe we've won a new business in the system, in the CRM system. What we could then do is we could create a workflow, so we could then automatically create a new project in the system and bring groups of people together and create specific tasks based on a project type. So that can all be automated inside the system. So first of all, I'm going to give this project a name. So the project will start tomorrow. So let's give this project the title December 2021. We're going to choose a responsible manager for the project, and another role is a designer role in this project. We then need to add a deadline. So what we're doing right here is just adding all of the the key credentials for this project. And this form that you see here is completely customizable. So if you have different pieces of information that need to be added, you can do that. So I'm going to move down here to the project type, because this is quite important for this type of workflow, because based on the type of project I select here, A or B, that's going to create a different selection of tasks inside the project. So this is quite a good way to show you how the business processes could be utilized in your business. You may have different types of projects which have different tasks that have to be worked on. You could create those inside here, and that could then automate the creation of that specific type of tasks in the system. So I'm going to choose project A inside here and submit that for approval. So that's now gone to the project manager to approve in the system. So we can see we've received this. And I'm going to add the estimated completion date for this in the system and approve. So that's now automatically created our new group inside the system. So if we go into here, and if I just take the filter off, you can see here now December 2021. It's created that new project group in the system, and it's created a set of tasks that we now need to start working on, automated through that workflow. So this shows you how you can streamline your creation of projects, and it just allows for an easy and quick creation, so you can start working on those tasks. It means there's no error in the actual creation of your projects. And if I just show you the background to this workflow. So this is within the Business Process Designer section where you can build out your workflows inside the system. Okay, so this is the background. So this is using the Business Process Designer tool. So you have lots of different action blocks on the right hand side here that you can use to build out your workflow. And this is something we can train you on here at Interface. We can provide training to show you how to use this tool. And we can also build and implement workflows for you on your behalf if you want. So first of all, we requested some information about the project. So that's what we entered into the form. It then automatically created the work group in the system. And then we had the condition. So we had to select if we were going to create a project type A or project type B. And we selected project A, so it created the scoping task. Whereas if we had selected project B, it would have created a design task and a development task. So you can see there how that, based on that type, that condition, it's then routed down this left-hand side. So it's a really powerful area of Bitrix. Okay, so I have another question come in here. How is Scrum integrated with projects? So Scrum is a new feature that Bitrix24 have added into the system. So it is quite a new tool inside here. So if we go into our tasks and project area, you can see here all of the tasks across all of the different projects. And here is the Scrum button. So this allows you to now go into here and create new Scrums that allow you to then start working on tasks inside the system. So if we go into here, the Scrum, it has its own page inside here, so you can give each Scrum its own name. And what you do, you have your backlog area here. So this will show you the tasks that you'll be planning for in the next up and coming sprint. And you can then assign these to specific employees in the system. So inside here, I can create tasks. And once those have been added, I can then add those into your sprint. So you can create different types of sprints inside the system here. You can choose the dates as well for your sprints, so they don't just have to be a day or a week. So you can assign how long the time period is for that particular sprint. So a sprint is not directly inside the project. A sprint is basically its own entity within the task and management area. And you then bring tasks from across the projects and assign them into a sprint. So it is slightly different. It's not integrated into a project. It's its own project management tool in the system. And we'll be bringing you some more training sessions about this feature in the next few weeks. But it's basically its own entity within the task management area. Okay, so just coming back now to discuss automation, we've looked there at the ways we can create a business process in the system. And another type of automation is using task automation rules. So we mentioned earlier on when we were in a project how you can create different stages that you progress a task through. Within those stages, if you have a professional cloud license or a self-hosted edition, you're able to set up automation rules. So for example, first of all, we could set up triggers, and a trigger will automatically update the stage of the task. So for example, if a task passed its deadline and it has not yet been completed, it is then overdue, it's past its deadline. And we could set up an overdue trigger. So then automatically the stage is changed. So it could be it's at the testing stage, but then if it passes its deadline, it becomes overdue. So we automatically change that task to the urgent stage. And because it's at the urgent stage, we have some automation set up. So we're automatically changing who is responsible for that task in the system. So it could go to a more senior manager, for example, to get that task back on track. Okay, so that's a look there at some of the different ways we can run automations inside the system. Okay, so yeah, we just answered a question there around Scrum. If there are any other questions, please do add them into the question box, and we can run through those before the end of today's webinar. Okay, so another feature we mentioned earlier on, which is a really popular feature on Bitrix24, is the Extranet site. So we mentioned how for the Extranet feature, it allows you to invite third parties, external clients basically, who are not internal users on your Bitrix24 system. And you can have an unlimited number of external users. So here we're actually logged in here as Tara Green. What we can see here is the external site. So a big difference is on the left hand side. They don't have access to any of those internal modules such as the CRM, such as your task and project section. They only have access to the projects that you have invited them into. And then within those projects, as I mentioned earlier on, how you can assign different permissions across the project for different users, we can then set what level of access they have inside here. So for example, I could go into tasks and they could see all of the tasks that they are associated to. They could look at the comments, for example, and maybe we allow them to add their own comments back into any task. So this just shows you how much collaboration you could have with external users. So we can message that into there, so that's really easy to do. We can maybe share some drive and documents with them. So inside here, then what we can see here, we have very different to the drive for the internal team. We have lots of different folders and files in the drive area. This is the same project, the BizTech project, as we looked at earlier on. You can see here they only have access to a product details folder and a HR policy update. So we can see how those permissions start to work. Even though they have access to the project, we can control really what level of functionality they have inside here. And as I mentioned, you could have an unlimited number of external users on the project. Okay, so just moving on to discuss, we mentioned the features that are available for the cloud and the self-hosted. Just moving on to some of the benefits of the self-hosted edition. So in terms of the external user feature, they would log in to a portal to access the project. So with the self-hosted edition, you can rebrand the portal. So the user could log into a branded, corporate branded login page. So it looks like your own system that they're logging into. We could also set up advanced automation. So using triggers or using maybe an API to trigger from another system, for example, we could set up advanced automations. And with the self-hosted system, we have access to what we call the control panel. So actually what we can do inside here is you can create your own pages and create your own sections for the system. So it really becomes a really advanced tool that is completely customizable. So it's really a lot more advanced than the Bitrix24 cloud system. And based because of that advanced nature with access to the source code, we can actually build your own dashboard. So if you wanted to have dashboards of information inside here, that would be available with the self-hosted system. Okay, so coming soon, here are a selection of our up and coming webinars. We're here at Tuesday at 11 AM Eastern Time for all of our webinars, and you can register for those webinars at interface.com/webinars. Okay, so in summary today, we've had a look at how we can manage our projects using the workgroup tool in Bitrix24, so we can bring groups of people together to collaborate on projects. We've had a look at the task management tools, and all the variety of ways you can view tasks to help streamline your processes, and how using the collaboration features within tasks such as instant messaging, you can comment, you can use video calling and telephony to collaborate to really help you make sure your projects stay on track. And we can see how the automation side can help streamline your processes through automating the creation of projects through to what stages each task is at in the system. And we've seen the different types of reporting tools within tasks using the different displays and the filtering tools inside the system. I want to thank you for joining today's Perfect Project Management webinar. If you have any questions before next week's webinar, next Tuesday, please do contact us here, sales@interface.com, and one of our team will be in touch to discuss your inquiry in more detail. But thank you for your time today. I hope you found today's Perfect Project Management webinar useful, and I look forward to joining you next week. Bye for now.